What is going on, everybody? This is Brett with Pop Culture Crisis, and I am here today with my host, Miracle.
Hi.
And over in the corner is our producer, Chris.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
And we are one host short today because Andreas is late. We don't know where he is, but luckily there is no shortage of stuff to talk about, and I'm excited about this one first and foremost. We're just going to get right into it. Dune. Me, Chris, and Tim and Allison went and saw Dune last night, and oddly enough, Tim, did you feel the same way Tim did? That it was so boring to him that we walked out at about an hour and 45 minutes in, even though I was fairly still engrossed in the film. Nobody else in our group could really get through just the slog of the movie, but there's a lot of really interesting stuff to talk about in regards to the film, not just the movie itself. So, Miracle, have you seen it yet?
No, I was supposed to come with you guys yesterday, but I couldn't. But Sarah, she told me it was very boring. Like, they didn't really get to the point, but it was really high budget. So the question is, what's going to happen with high budgeted movies?
Yes, that is actually one of the things I wanted to talk about because I think the budget was $165 million to make this movie, and with marketing, that puts the budget at about $250. Because to get your budget for a movie, you take the production value, and then you take half of that production value, and you add that on top of it, and that gives you your marketing budget for the average big picture, big blockbuster tentpole movie. And what I was kind of wondering, because you had talked to me recently about the Uncharted trailer, with this film. And also with Blade Runner 2049 and 2017, both of them not really doing as well as a lot of the Marvel movies and even the DC movies, which people still do pretty good at the box office, at least especially on the opening weekend. So what I wanted to discuss was kind of, is there going to be a watershed moment where these films kind of transition into being about these big blockbuster films move away from comic books and go probably more towards video games.
Yeah, that's what Uncharted is about. It's a video game.
It is a video game.
Yeah.
Because the way I see it is our generation, my generation, not your generation.
Well, technically I identify with you.
Our generation here grew up reading comic books, and those movies are being made by people who grew up reading them as part of our childhood, our culture. But eventually, those will not resonate with the younger audience the way that these video games do. And Hollywood has this very, very dicey relationship with video game movies. They do not. They do not do well, or at least at the very least, they're hit and miss. I think Sonic is the only one that seems to be both a critical and crowd receptive.
No,
because
don't
critics
forget about the Pokemon movie. I thought that was really good with CGI.
Okay, no, you are right. But was it Detective Pikachu?
Yes. Well, it's mainly Pokemon Detective Pikachu.
But that's based on video game characters. So do those movies signify kind of this move into a new culture where Marvel kind of takes because the Eternals is getting middling reviews at best, and as they kind of become the MCU and they start to go more in the realm of identity politics and focus less on their legacy characters, you can already see that people are going to start checking out a little bit. At least I think that eventually that will happen. As people start checking out and the younger audience starts to command the market share, and I think that goes more towards video games. Was there any other video game movies just offhand that you actually enjoyed?
Well, I never watched like a lot of video game movies, but Resident Evil was really good. I think they're producing more movies.
The Mila Jovovich, is that her name?
I think it's
Jovovich.
I don't know, Jovovich or Jovovich.
But those ones, the ones that was the first two were theatrical releases, and the rest were kind of
after the video games. Yes.
Okay. The reason I brought up this with Dune is because there is this historical attempt within Hollywood to make art house films on a big budget. Blade Runner 2049, which had a very large budget but didn't really take a whole lot in, was directed by the same guy, Denis Villeneuve. Villeneuve has directed Dune, who is a fantastic director, but visually, as stunning as the movie is, it is a slog to get through because it's a three-part. The movie's going to be in three parts because the story is so massive.
Yeah.
So, is there a way to make these big-budget movies without it being an action scene every 15 minutes? Something more cerebral. Do you think that there's a way that they can do that without having to do a big action set piece every 10 minutes?
Well, have you seen the movies that are based on anime? Like like Lolita, and then I think Akita also. Akita,
Okay.
like, yeah, they're based off anime, and like, yes, Hollywood kind of whitewashed them, but how they do it, I love how they do this formula, because anime, it tends to be very action packed, but they do it in a certain way where you get the main point of the story, then like they separate off like some of the action scenes. Like Lolita was really perfect with the action scene, where she's like a cyborg, but then like she's fighting like these other cyborgs, and then they cut to like main story, and then do a little bit more action. Like, it's beautifully done with CGI, other than the big doll eyes. That was kind of creepy.
What was the one that came out this year that did really well?
Ghost in the Shell? No.
No.
There was a lot of hate for that.
Well, but the one that did much better than they thought it would on like half the theater. It was out at the same time as Godzilla vs Kong, but got like half the screen time. But it wasn't a My Hero Academia movie. It was oh, I'm not gonna be able to remember. It's gonna bug me.
Yeah. Chris, do you know what it is by chance?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It'd be like that sometimes.
It was but it was it was based on an anime, and it was not in they didn't even do it in English. All you had to get either subtitles or you had to watch the dubbed version.
Ew, dub is so terrible. Like, have you ever watched any like media that's...
I prefer the dub.
Well, dub is not bad. Like, you get funny moments. Like, have you ever watched the original Pokemon series? The original Pokemon series. So this is what 4kids.tv. I hope some people know this reference, but basically they had a censorship. So you know the onigiri's? So it's rice balls, like Japanese rice balls, but they dubbed it and said jelly-filled donuts, and it's been a meme nonstop.
For me, the dubs, I just, because of the hearing problem, I can't like listen. Like, I'm trying to read but the language is distracting, so I have to have it in English and have English subtitles just because my hearing is so bad.
Yeah.
But, basically, Dune did $165 million budget, so what, 250 overall, 40 million like opening here in America, 220 million worldwide right now, which means if they're going to break even, they're going to need to make another 30 to 40 million, because a lot of those numbers are high low end estimates anyways. And this is also really good news for HBO, because it was a day and date release, meaning that it came out on HBO Max at the same time as it did on in the theaters.
Hey, actually, it came out the day before on HBO.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
which is funny because that's how I watch it. And now I'm also wondering, are they trying to kill it on purpose? Because if everyone has the opportunity to see it first on HBO, they're going to be like, well, whatever, let's watch it on HBO then, because I want to see it.
I think
And then
you're
it's
right.
cheaper, and all you have to do is sign up for like, what, $15 a month or
$15 a
something. They
month.
can watch it. So I'm wondering what the box office is showing for the weekend. Now that the weekend's over, we could probably see that.
40 million was what it opened to here
Yeah.
in the U.S.,
And
but
that's-
220 million worldwide.
Yeah.
But that's not too bad, considering that it was out on HBO Max as well.
Yeah.
The
so
other
no-
movies like Shang-Chi that are doing better didn't have like simultaneous releases.
Yeah, but I still think it's gonna like really hurt the numbers and make it look really bad, because there's that standard they go off of for like, oh, this is how much money it made, and
Yeah,
now they're
but
purposely keeping it low.
why are they doing that? Wouldn't that ruin Zendaya, like the actress? Like, she's a big name in Hollywood. Wouldn't that ruin her reputation?
Not
She's not even in that movie that
well,
much.
actually, like they have like a deal with the theaters that they have to split the money in.
Yeah.
So the theater's going to bring the money in, and then now they get to keep more of it because they probably have a better deal with HBO or something.
I believe it's 60% to the theaters, or to the studio, 40% to the theaters. And then if you go to China, you flip-flop that number. China gets 70% of every box office release that goes there, and we editorialize all our movies and edit them to appease China. That was actually one of the other things I was going to talk about here today, but I think I'm gonna skip that one because it's kind of getting off. But you're right about them putting the movies out at the same time, because they're burning off all of the 2021 movies, because they announced at the start of 2021 that all HBO or Warner Brothers big budget movies were going to come out simultaneously with HBO Max, because they didn't know how far along we were on the pandemic.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's different than coming out at the same time.
Yeah,
If it's coming out a day early, it's like, well, we don't have the option to go to the theater.
It also means that the high quality cut version goes on BitTorrent
Oh
right
yeah,
away.
a lot quicker.
People are sailing the high seas
Yeah.
right away. And the reason that I brought up the part about Marvel earlier was because there was an article from about Denis Villeneuve talking about how Marvel is basically cut and paste movie making,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like how Martin Scorsese called Marvel movies their theme park rides. They're not movies.
yeah.
I only really thought it was relevant because Shang-Chi did do like 85 million in its opening weekend, which seems to indicate that those movies are still doing really well. But like I said, there was no Disney Plus release for that movie.
It's almost like they want Dune to flop.
Exactly.
Because
It
Shang-Chi
feels that
couldn't.
way.
It was, I mean, they did way more for the headlining Marvel movies.
Yep.
And this, wow, it did half as much as Shang-Chi, which wasn't anywhere near a
Nope.
regular Marvel movie.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. And Black Widow made 80 million or 90 million, if I believe, and that one did get a Disney Plus release. So that just proves to you how much people like Scarlett Johansson. Who doesn't, right? But basically, the idea for me was like, I would love to see an era where we can actually get more of these think piece type movies and get them big budget releases. But there has to be a director who can actually make it so that it's both visually interesting. The story's quick, fast paced, but it's just where do you find the IP for that? I think this might be the last great attempt because Lord of the Rings has already been done, and all the other books that these are made on, they don't have the faith in it to make it go to break it into 3 movies like they're trying to do with this one.
Yeah, I feel like one of the problems Hollywood has is they try milking everything. Like, let's make this book into 3 movies because people love trilogies. They don't like slow movies that. When I watched Dune, I actually watched it on HBO before we went to the movies.
Oh, you
Yeah, I
did?
saw you
Yeah.
watch it, and
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh crap!
Yeah, so I already saw it, and it was slow, but I didn't mind because I was just sitting at home, and it felt like at the end of the movie, it felt like I had watched, like for example, if you watch The Matrix, and right when Neo meets Morpheus for the first time inside the Matrix, I feel like that's where it ended, and it's like they're trying to make it like, oh, what happens next? Like what?
Yeah.
Like that was the movie? Like
Yeah.
I just saw him walking around and doing whatever.
Yeah, well, how do you feel about like the new Matrix movie that's coming out where like basically Neo is the main character again, but like they're talking more about the simulation?
Yeah, it looks good. I hope it's good.
We can go into that because that's
Yeah.
another example of that's not a comic book movie. That's a movie based a sci-fi property that has big name value, name recognition, but isn't necessarily something based off established IP that they took from books. They built it from the movie. The movie was built from the ground up in theaters, and they filmed the second and third one at the same time, if I remember correctly.
Oh no, the third. Oh yeah,
The
second and third.
yeah. Okay, so the fourth one, to me, I'm not a huge fan of what it looks like. The color palette does bother me. It
Well-
doesn't look like the Matrix to me.
Well, the reason why they did that color palette because they said it's going to be like a whole different scenario because like the third movie apparently Neo basically broke the Matrix.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're
But he
doing
went
that.
back into it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and he wanted a fresh one or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that makes sense, but to me, it's just I can't help. And maybe it's just because I'm jaded, but when I see stuff like this, it just feels like a cash grab to me. Like it doesn't.
Stop being black pilled.
No, I don't know. I feel like it's about time for a new Matrix movie as long as it's done properly. But also the color filter on the movies, it's like it's supposed to be that when you're inside the Matrix, it's filtered, and when it's outside, it's a different
Yeah.
filter.
Well,
So
they
they're-
There was-
changed it because it used to be green. Sorry.
There
my
was
bad.
that
What is
shot
it
in the
now?
trailer. It's like a bluish orange.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's
It's kind of crappy.
you could be right that like 3/4.
Oh,
of the
it's a
way,
new Matrix though. Maybe that's what they're trying to show us.
Or 3/4 the way through the movie, he actually re-enters the Matrix, and then it switches back to the old color palette.
Well, because isn't it a new Matrix? Like at the end of the
Yeah.
third one, he was like, "Let's do it right this time."
Yeah.
And then we're supposed to be looking at him with his fresh start that he still doesn't like or something.
As long as they find a way to explain it,
Yeah.
that'll work. Because I usually when
I
they
mean,
make these movies, they
yeah.
don't want to rely on the fact that everybody's seen it.
But also that's what the color filters do. It's kind of like subconscious,
Yep.
so that you can associate scenes with different areas. Like on planets, they do it a lot. Like
Yep.
you go to a different planet in a movie.
Have you ever seen the meme where it says like it's a picture of Mexico and it's just it just looks like a regular city and it says Mexico and American movies and they just put a big orange filter
Yeah.
over it?
that's what it is.
Okay, so the moral of the story is: did you like Dune since you saw the whole thing?
I mean, I liked the beginning of the Matrix also.
Okay.
You know, so but I would be very upset if they ended the movie there.
Yeah.
You know? So it was fun. It was a good movie, but it was slow. They're trying to be way too cinematic, and I really wish they could have just made it a movie.
Yeah. So are you saying that you preferred the old one over the new one? Be-
I actually never saw the first one, but I heard it was terrible. I was thinking of watching it because I was thinking, okay, maybe if they show me the whole story in one take, it'll be better than this.
David Lynch is very.
Artsy fartsy.
You have to be a David Lynch guy to like. You have to like David Lynch movies to like most of his stuff. I have almost no recollection of the original. I had seen it, but I have almost no recollection of it other than feeling like it was really weird. But
I've also never read the book, just so you know.
most people have not.
It's okay. You can Sparks Notes it.
Yes, you can. Okay. Then I would like to go on to this next article since that one is kind of a deeper topic. This one is just funny, and that is Halloween bone-chilling villain Michael Myers is homophobic in new film. Which
No, he's progressive because he doesn't care.
Exactly. We're going to get to that. So it says a long-running Halloween franchise has, and this is from Yahoo News. This is a couple days old, but the article is just so good that I had to include it today. So it says the long-running Halloween franchise has largely focused on the effects of Michael Myers and his rampage on the Stroke family. I think they mean Strode family. Somebody here has the wrong copy editor, please. And Halloween Kills is no exception to that tradition. The film is a direct sequel to the 2018's Halloween, which ended with the masked killer being trapped in the protagonist Laurie Strode. There, they got it right. Laurie Strode's burning house. However, fans did find out in the new movie that the serial killer escaped the burning house with the help from firefighters, who he eventually killed, and proceeded to go on a murderous rampage. At one point in Halloween Kills, Michael Myers returns to his childhood home and finds an unsuspecting gay couple living there. The men, who are named Big John and Little John.
Oh, that's so cute.
That's
adorable.
Realized that someone in their home and searched for the intruder, but instead of making it out alive, they were murdered by Myers. The scene stirred up controversy on Twitter, with some people labeling Michael Myers as homophobic for killing the couple. Well, that you can stop there. I mean, it's not people, it's Twitter. Twitter is not real. Those are actually that's like the dregs of society, basically.
Yeah, AI. It's Google AI.
And even if they're real, if you're on Twitter, you're kind of nuts. Like, if you want to look at Twitter as the real world, you're setting yourself up for failure. But I do love this because I can't tell what they want. Do they want to be inclusive, or do they want special treatment? Because one would think that if you were being inclusive, he would kill you no matter what you looked like.
No, everything.
Or
That's actually like what it actually is.
Yes. Miracle's like, I have no opinion on this.
Nope, I do not care because I hate everybody equally, which should be normal for everybody.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Miracle hates you. But this was interesting because I was talking to you and Sarah downstairs earlier, and I said it really does feel like they want to be treated like children. Because in the movies, that's if you're making a movie and you want to really anger people or set them off, it's that taboo of killing young children. They only do it every so often. It's never shown on screen, and it's always used as a way to rile everyone up in.
Well, you know what's funny about it is if we stop putting homosexuals into movies, would they be happy or even more upset? I would be a little upset if we stopped showing different diversity groups in movies, but it seems like that's what they want.
They want to be included, but they only want to be included in the way that they want to be seen.
Yeah.
Or not, we shouldn't say they. These specific activist types see the world that way. But it's like, what's the trope is called, I just heard this for the first time recently, it's called the bury your gays trope, where if you, in a movie, it's like, there's always a gay person who gets killed. I'm like, likely in a scenario where other straight people are killed too, but that's like a trope. They do it to make it taboo for you to do anything that would negatively impact them. But then at the same time, how is Big John and Little John not stereotypical or like ridiculous sounding as far as a name goes?
Oh yeah, that would be more well, I mean, they do have real names, right? But people can have nicknames. We shouldn't take away nicknames in movies either. It's like, well, he's gay, so we shouldn't give him a nickname. That's a little weird.
So going on in the article, it says the USA and Sci-Fi show follows. This is about the new. Fans also drew a comparison between the treatment of LGBTQ plus people in Halloween Kills and the new Chucky TV series. The show features a scene in which the evil doll shows his acceptance for his gender fluid and queer child. The evil doll shows his acceptance for his gender fluid and queer child. The USA and Sci-Fi show follows Jake, a teen who knowingly buys Chucky at a yard sale. He eventually confronts the killer doll after he reads the teen's diary and discovers his crush on a classmate named Devin. However, Chucky reveals to his queer child, Jake, that he... What? Copy editor. However, Chucky reveals that he has his queer child. Jake asks if the doll is cool with it, to which Chucky responds, "I'm not a monster, Jake."
Yeah.
This
All right.
is the... You cannot escape these topics.
Yeah, so let's make all the evil characters accepting of everyone. I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
He's supposed to be evil.
Yeah.
If you want him to be seen as evil, he kills everyone, including the gay characters. And if you really want him to be evil, he says something fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry.
Or I mean, at least
It's
he could
fine.
at least he could go around killing homophobes.
Yeah, it's like that. That's like that would make more sense
Yeah.
actually within the context of.
Well, I mean, even then, he's if he's supposed to be the bad guy,
Yeah.
he's supposed to be a homophobe.
He's not an anti-hero. Now you
Yeah.
can have the Punisher kill homophobic people all
Yeah,
day
yeah,
long,
that would be good.
and that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But in the movie, he's supposed to be bad. So if he's supposed to be bad, but you make it's literally like they want special rules to even to
Yeah.
something like storytelling, which is a universal language. So to me, this is just imagine having to be a screenwriter in Hollywood, right? And Miracle's writing her big screenplay, and she's got this great idea for a film, and they're like, "Nope, can't do that because this."
I'd be so disappointed if I was the screenwriter. I'm like, why can't I make this character kill gays?
Or just boxed into these
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous things that have nothing to do with storytelling and everything to do
Mm-hmm.
with modern socio-political issues, which should not affect the entertainment
Mm-hmm.
industry.
I feel like we all know that they're actually just looking for something to complain about,
Yeah.
rather than
Yeah.
actually being upset about something.
Exactly.
Because
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like a tangent, but how they get upset every time they see a minority on a product label. That's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wouldn't expect people who are accepting of diversity to be upset that there's a Native American on a stick of butter.
Mm-hmm. Wait, did they change that yet?
Yep.
Yeah.
They
Aw,
got rid
damn.
of her, and they got rid of. I'm not sure if they got rid of Uncle Ben, but they got rid of Aunt Jemima, which makes me really sad.
Yeah. And they're keeping Mr. Clean, but I think they're making him black, so he's not going to last much longer either.
Ooh.
I wonder if they'll let him stay because they made the change for that purpose, rather than saying that he was some exploitative stereotype. But then 10 years will go by, new activists will be around, and they'll be like, "Oh, so the guy cleaning is the help, and he's black."
Yep.
That's what they'll say in 10 years. So, and another thing, this
They're
is
just trying to
interesting.
destroy culture, really.
Yeah, they want to make it like so you literally have to tiptoe around
Yeah.
every single aspect of your life for the sake of the 12 psychos on Twitter,
Yep.
as Zach would say. But it says Halloween. Fun fact: Halloween opened to $50 million on a $17 million budget. So it just goes to I think me and you had spoken earlier. I think the history, like the future of cinema, in a world where nobody, or at least far less people, want to go to the movie theater, is lower budgets, better storytelling, allows for a higher return on investment if people actually do want to go to the movies, because horror movies always make money.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
For sure.
Like you're the horror fan here, right? Are you the
Nope,
No?
I don't like it. That's why I watch movie reviews of horror things, so I don't feel that scared.
I'm the same way. I'm sort of ashamed to admit I love the old 90s horror slasher movies, but I'm
Mhm.
not a huge fan of just gore for the sake of gore
Mm-hmm.
or anything like that.
Like when they're trying really hard just to be like
Mhm.
outrageously murderous, it's
Mhm.
not really entertaining.
The Saw movies never really entertained me all that much. It's basically just torture porn, which
It's
is
Saw's kind of different, I guess. It's kind of like, oh, would I do that? Would I, cut my
Well,
own tongue off? I don't know.
the first one poses those questions
Yeah.
really well.
Yeah.
yeah, and then they
Well,
just keep making them.
The whole story behind Saw was to basically punish people who are sinners in his eye. And he said that he was helping people. Like some of the people who were doing a group session for Saw, they said he actually helped them. And then some people were like, dude, I can't live a normal life because I'm so shocked by this.
Yeah.
So I don't know. For me, I feel like Saw was like a weird social game for
Yeah.
him.
They need to stop making Purge movies also.
That was
Yeah.
the other one I was going to say. They have these great premises, and like you said earlier, they can't resist just milking
it, yeah.
milking it for all it's worth.
But it's a little better when they don't make a trilogy Well, so I think trilogies, I don't really care for them because it's like planned.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, because they make them weaker so that it fits into a trilogy. But if you look at like the Fast and the Furious franchise, each movie, it's like, are we making another one? I don't know. So they just make a real movie, and then it does well. So they're like, we can make another one.
Yep. Yep, I think you're right with that. Because making trilogies are too, especially if you, because I think most of the Fast and Furious ones are different directors, same writer but different directors.
No, I think it's all the same one.
No, because James Wan did 7 and he didn't do any of the other ones.
I think
Oh, really?
It was
Yeah,
the
I
same
thought it
writer
was
up
different.
until, same writer, different directors up
Oh.
until the newest one where they went to outer space.
Yeah. Yep.
Um,
What's next?
Would you like to talk about Alec? It seems like it's weird to ignore
Mhm.
Alec Baldwin, given like how prevalent that is to pop culture right now.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
for me, I feel like Alec Baldwin is already over his time as an actor. I don't care if he's alive or not.
Well, I mean, we need old people in movies too.
I
so
love-
That'll be good.
I love 30 Rock,
Yeah.
so he
Yeah.
gets a pass for me on that. and
Great
I-
character in 30 Rock.
Yeah,
He,
that's
uh,
true.
But he's also demented, like crazy in real life.
He has one of the worst cases of TDS,
Yeah.
of Trump derangement syndrome that maybe any celebrity have, and in the world of Hollywood, that is saying something. So
Yeah, he's up there.
yeah.
Towards the
So I think somebody said like when they were talking about that original article that he was ranting about Trump when the gun went off. That was debunked.
Oh, okay.
That was debunked. So we are not fake news here, people. We are not fake news. But I pulled up this article because it says that they're wrapping production on the movie Rust, which was the movie that Baldwin was filming when he tragically shot and killed Helena Hutchins, the cinematographer of the movie. They're wrapping on the set until they can finish an investigation. Now, I don't know if they mean the police investigation or if they're talking about the internal investigation, which, as we know, as people who follow the government, you're never found guilty when there's an internal investigation. You always find yourself to be innocent. So I'm sure he will be in no trouble whatsoever there. But he was also the main producer on this movie, so he's losing a lot of money on it. But it says...
Well, if he was the producer, he should have been overseeing a lot of the
Yep.
things happening.
I
So,
think that's why this is catching a lot of heat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I just think like honestly, I do not care. But they somebody in the emails was telling me, like before he would make a lot of gun jokes too.
He's an anti-gunner, big time.
Oh, that
Like,
makes more sense
yeah.
why he doesn't know gun safety.
Yep, super anti-gunner. And they
Mhm.
found out that the gun that was used in the accident was actually taken off set and used for target practice at a range, which is a humongous no-no
Mm-hmm.
in that business.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There was no organization. They didn't follow any of the rules. I heard they went and grabbed the gun, and they were like, "Yeah, it's good," and then handed it to him. But he's the
Cold gun.
producer, so
Yep.
he should. I think he should be in trouble for that because if he wasn't the one who fired the gun, as the producer, he should still be in trouble for having such a lawless set at
Yep.
the time.
And they the big thing was if I don't remember if it was in this article, but basically because of breakdowns in talks about like pay and union issues.
Yeah.
It's like the set, like the original crew walked off the set, and it was scabs. It was local hires who are obviously is far more inexperienced and far less familiar with working on a Hollywood set, especially if you're working with firearms. You should have if there's one area where you shouldn't skimp on the budget, you should probably have the most experienced armorer you can find and the most
Yeah.
experienced
Mhm.
assistant producer to make sure that this stuff never makes it this far. There's supposed to be layer after layer of bleeding edge security to make sure this stuff doesn't happen. So
Mhm.
I wonder if this means that we're going to get like really obvious prop guns in the future, which is going to be sad for me.
Well, we can use CGI. That's what I didn't
Mhm.
understand either. It's like you could have CGI'd any gunshot you wanted easily.
Mhm.
I can do it easily.
Yeah, that's true. But I love your example where you're talking about that woman that got killed. Rest in peace for her. But like where she's like directing where the camera's supposed to be, and then like
she's the cinematographer.
yeah, exactly. And then like all of a sudden she tells Baldwin, "Yeah, shoot at me."
Yeah, that's weird.
Well,
I
no,
don't know.
she's. I think the idea is that the camera was. This is pure speculation on
Mhm.
my part. Was framed one way,
Mhm.
and he's shooting at someone that would be from when they switched angle would be over his shoulder.
Mhm.
So she's likely saying, "You're shooting this direction towards me." So she's basically standing in behind
Mhm.
the camera to cover for the second angle that would have been on
Mhm.
the other side when they shot reversal. So
Hey.
I suppose no, but I'm just saying, no matter like why, if they were firing a gun in any capacity, blank, toy gun, anything, why would you stand in its line?
Yep.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, when a lot of times, like if you shoot a movie, like if they shoot wide enough, they have to do that there. But like usually they would do, they only do blanks at a certain distance, right? And then if you get closer, you have to use what's called a non-gun,
Yeah.
which doesn't fire any type of projectile at all, as far as I know.
Yeah,
but-
because a blank will kill someone.
Exactly. A blank, even a blank will kill you if it's shot close enough to you. And I think that's what happened to Brandon Lee. It put the blank pushed through the misfired cartridge, and it
Yeah.
went into his heart, which
Yeah.
is super sad. But yeah, like basically I was just wondering, like, do you think this movie will get finished?
Oh no, they canceled it, didn't they?
Well, it just says that it's closed while they conduct an investigation.
Well, Deadpool 2, they continue it even though their stunt double died.
That is true. I forgot
I,
about
I
that.
feel like
Yeah.
a stunt double dying is more like a risk of being a stunt double.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh man, we messed up, but they knew what they were doing for us. That's why we were paying them so much.
Yeah. But like still, I feel like they continue that. Why can't they continue this movie?
Because I didn't even remember that being a story. This
Oh, yeah.
is a
It was only a
huge
story for one day.
Yeah,
And
it wasn't a person responsible for killing the stunt double either. I don't think
It was most likely an accident.
It
Yeah.
was because like she was riding a motorcycle down the stairs.
Wow.
But yeah, so I was like, will this movie ever even see the light of day? Because they finished The Crow, but I don't know if they would do that now. Like, I don't know if they would actually finish the movie and release it because of the it's just gonna. At the same time, greedy studio might be like, this is fantastic.
Yeah, I think it also matters on how much of the film was completed. If they just started filming and Baldwin killed someone, they might be like, okay, I don't know, we're not doing this. But if it's like mostly finished, then they might finish it.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, that will be an interesting story to follow if it does get finished and eventually come out.
And it's actually got a lot of press
Yeah.
because it was in the news so much. People know of the movie without it even being out.
Yep.
True.
No, none of us would have heard anything, or at least
I didn't
Yeah.
even know this movie was coming out.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think I'd be curious enough to turn it on if I had an opportunity. I saw it on or something.
Yep. It's that is crazy. So now that we've covered a thoroughly depressing topic, let's go back to another fun one, which is
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan.
Oh, what's going on with him?
They're literally making a Barbie movie.
Oh, and he's Barbie?
He's
No,
that
that would
would've
be
been-
funny.
Yeah.
That would be truly progressive. No, they're making a Barbie movie with Margot Robbie as Barbie, which is fantastic,
And he's Ken.
and he's Ken.
All right.
So first of all, I can already see the SJW reeing for casting two white actors.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh, but there's like stink bugs that are flying around us.
According to Lydia, she says that is
They're flying around you.
What did I do? I just have.
It's like the cartoon where you got the bugs.
Lydia says that is Stinky Sam, and he's the studio mascot.
No, that's for their studio, not our studio.
Or maybe he's visiting us today.
Ew.
We don't have to talk a ton about this one, but I just thought, like, every time whenever we have these discussions when they make remakes and redos, they say Hollywood is officially out of ideas, but this might be the actual sign that Hollywood is officially out of ideas.
What is it?
It's
the
Barbie.
Barbie
the
movie.
Oh yeah.
Wait, is
Well-
it
well-
like a secret twist where it's actually a horror movie and Barbie's trying to take everybody's souls?
Is it-
That's what they did
Oh,
for
yeah.
Disney, where this show, I love the show, but they never like had a third season, but it's called My Babysitter is a Vampire, and like basically it's this girl, I think she was based off of Barbie and Katy Perry, but she comes to life, and like basically how she stays as a human, she like touches you and absorbs all your life essence and you turn into a doll. So is this secretly like a horror movie?
No, I doubt it.
That would be pretty cool. That sounds like a Goosebumps book.
What
Kinda.
is the storyline to Barbie though? Or is it
Barbie is a rich white girl and she
Yeah.
has no problems, but she's really progressive
And
because
really
she
pretty.
has all
You can just hear them. They're going to be like, look at the cis white female. And they'll say, like, she gives
yeah.
into the patriarchy because she marries Ken.
But Ken is really handsome. But it's funny that Ken doesn't have much dolls other than the new progressive dolls that they have today, where he has a man bun.
Oh, nice.
There's a Ken doll with a man bun.
Yeah, it's like a part of their new series of dolls where they're trying to have like a doll for everybody. So there's like a fat Barbie, there's a fat Asian Barbie.
Is there really a fat Barbie?
Yeah, there's
Oh,
a
yeah.
fat Barbie. Like there was one Barbie that was like a obese Barbie, but she didn't really sell that well. But there is a fat Barbie where she's a little bit curvy. She's kind of cute, but there's so many. Like there's a Barbie that we saw at Walmart that one time, Brett, where she has like a basically colorful hair and like she shaved like one side of her head.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's called the mental illness haircut in the comic book world.
I don't know. I kind of like that haircut.
I have it. I mean, it's grown out now, but that's
Yeah.
I actually have that haircut, so I can judge it. But we did talk about that. The Barbie. There's also like I've noticed like there's a lot more body types in like advertising, which I actually think is cool. Like
Yeah.
I do bitch about it sometimes because I do think like in movies,
Oh, you're not a chubby chaser?
like. There's a reason I'm not an actor. Short,
Yeah.
ugly, that's fine. Hollywood is a visual movie making and comic books and all these things are visual mediums. So there's a reason that they look like that. There's a reason comic book men have like 10 packs, like 6 packs on top of 6 packs. They're supposed to be the idealized human experience.
First of all, I'm very offended. Who called you ugly?
Me. I
Don't
did.
talk ill about my friend. I think you're very handsome and you can get anybody that you want.
We're cutting that.
No, we're not.
Okay, it's been cut.
Thank you. But the idea is that these characters are supposed to be the idealized image of human existence, and visual storytelling requires things you want to look at. Most people, they're not mean. They just they don't want to look at the average person when they're watching their movies. They want to see above average. They want to see the peak of human existence. Not they can go to Walmart and see us if they want to see regular everyday people.
Are you calling me ugly?
I called
because
you
I do.
I called you regular.
Oh.
You're a beautiful woman.
You're
Okay.
a beautiful regular person.
Yes. But
Yeah.
you see actors and you're like, wow, that is one symmetrical.
Mm.
Not all, but a good amount of, especially the younger women. They're very, very attractive because that's the industry that they were born for.
What about Danny? Like the guy that played It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, that tiny short man.
Danny DeVito?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's his shtick. His shtick is that he's the tiny short man. So it's part of his character. It's part of how he gets hired.
Yeah.
Well, like still, you said like you wouldn't make it through Hollywood. I think you would.
There are no 5'5" dudes in Hollywood. Well, Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise is the same height as me, I believe.
But it's also
Same
whenever
thing with Sylvester Stallone. He's really short.
Sylvester
Actually,
Stallone.
yeah, pretty much everyone is short in Hollywood, and then they use camera tricks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because they care more about how attractive you are than how tall you are, I think.
I'm going to fact check that and say that is not true. I think I would bet on average the most actors are above 5'9" or 5'10" into the 6 foot range.
No, I think
Sure.
you can fake someone's height. You can't fix someone's ugly.
That is
You know?
true.
That's
He's
true.
right. He's
No
right.
matter how much makeup you put on a woman, she's still ugly.
Yeah.
Like it's really sad. Like
Well, that's why I mentioned bone structure. Like they have this. It's what's called the golden ratio. They have very symmetrical features. So, Barbie is the quintessential, cis white, patriarchal. What would the term be? She's giving in to the patriarchy by wanting to be beautiful and look beautiful for men.
But no, like the reason why they made Barbie because like they wanted girls to feel like, oh, like this little doll, I almost said Barbie doll, but this is how slowly ingrained like it does for like little kids. Because I grew up with Barbie, but basically Barbie was made to empower like little girls that pretty much you can be anything. That's her slogan. You can be anything.
So that actually makes a good thing I can ask you.
Mm-hmm.
The big topic in Hollywood for the last 5 years is inclusion and representation, meaning that they have to see themselves on screen. Would you need Barbie to look like you to feel like she inspired you to do something?
Well, for me, like when I grew up, like I didn't see a lot of Asian actors, so that was kind of a little bit hard with like identity. But later when I grew up older, I didn't really care. But now I do appreciate there's more Asian actors for like the younger kids because early Hollywood they wouldn't really do diversity hires unless like you if you're the Asian actor, the only roles that you'll play as is the foreigner, the nerd. Or, yeah, like, the foreigner one, that was really bad. Like, you remember, what's his name from 16 Candles? Something Long Dick Dong. I don't know. It was, like, really, it was, like, really racist.
Super racist.
And he was supposed to be Vietnamese or some outlandish shit like that.
I'm gonna have to look up 16.
16 Candles is really good.
but-
It's a good movie, but the Asian character was really racist. But that's the only. Well, also the martial art guy.
I was
That's
gonna
it.
say you forgot
Oh,
the
yeah.
martial.
You can't have a
arts
white
stereotype.
martial arts teacher. Like
Yeah,
that was
you
the-
can.
That was the bad guy in Karate Kid, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
well,
Yeah.
That's the other thing though. Like they want like at the same time they're like you can't. Now they're saying stuff like that. Like when they were when Cobra Kai was coming out, they're like, look at all these white people doing martial arts. I'm like, well, yeah, we live in a society where martial arts has been something that kids. When we were
Yeah.
younger, have done martial arts for the last 70 years.
Yeah,
That's
it's actually
not,
a huge part of American culture.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
these people are just racist and think everybody should be stereotypes.
Yeah.
16 Candles.
Well, like for me, I feel like I don't know why people are so mad because martial arts. I feel like anybody can get into it. Like there's
Yeah.
different styles of martial arts. Like you have Aikido, you have Taekwondo. You also have
Taibo.
Taibo. Explain Taibo.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
I don't think
I'm pretty
Taibo
sure-
is a martial arts.
you'd be
sure?
surprised like how many things are real. But like
I thought Taibo was like
it's a typo.
no, I thought Taibo was like like an exercise routine like yoga.
I don't know,
Oh,
but
okay. I thought that's what martial arts were.
but there's also Krav Maga, and
Krav-
that's
Oh,
yeah, basically
Kung
Krav
Fu?
Maga. No, Kung Fu. Yeah, Kung Fu
Oh
is
my
a real
god.
thing.
Long duck dong.
Yes, I knew it. Okay, I wasn't making up then.
That is an actual person.
Mhm. Like his character was really, really bad. Like they made it really racist on purpose.
So the accent was super.
yeah, because like you didn't know what accent he was doing. The actor is actually Korean, but they're like, here, play as a Vietnamese character.
But he was
you're
born
actu-
in America.
Well, yeah, he's an American.
Yeah,
That's-
he's the
that's why
Korean
it's
American.
Funny. That's
Yeah.
why it's funny. Like he's born in America,
Mhm.
but they're like, here, play this ridiculous stereotype.
Mhm.
Even though we have plenty of Korean Americans in our schools now who would theoretically just sound like a normal person,
Oh, yeah.
like an American citizen.
Yeah,
So-
well, that's what the early 2000s was. But
Well-
like back to your question about like, would I have like a movie where Barbie looks like me? No, like I want Barbie to be like how she looks now, and like that will still empower women. Like Barbie was like very empowering. Then they had Bratz, and Bratz like had a different demographic, and then they had Monster High, and then Ever After High dolls.
What was the demographic for Bratz?
Bratz. I wonder how far I can get away with this, but it was more like it was more for like women who weren't like, because like this is the whole feud about between Barbie and Bratz. So Barbie was looked upon like high society, while Bratz is like more like your casual girl that you'll see on the streets. Like I don't know if you remember this girl, but you remember Sharkeisha?
What? Who?
Sharkeisha, where they're like, Sharkeisha, no, and she's like punching this girl.
Oh, was that a viral video?
Yeah, it was a viral video of a girl like punching another girl, and like her friend said, Sharkeisha, no. And like everybody started making up stupid names.
How do you spell that?
Sharkeisha, so it's like basically like shark and Keisha.
Oh my god, that's as bad as Shaniqua, which is super racist.
But basically that's what Bratz demographics was. I grew up with both Barbie and Bratz, but like Bratz, like it wasn't bad, but they said it was like very negative because like same thing with Barbie, because Barbie, like she's supposed to have a hourglass figure, modest bust, and then like bust down there too. Like she just had to look high society, while Bratz was like they had bigger heads, bigger eyes, bigger lips, and like but they had a small body, and that's why like they created the whole Barbie fashion line where like Barbie's any size and you can love her no matter what.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like you can have a short Barbie and a tall Barbie now.
I always thought that the difference was Barbie is like trying to be a 50s housewife, while Bratz was like trying to be a 7-year-old wearing makeup and leaving the house without her parents' permission.
Kind of. Have you watched the cartoon series?
No.
Oh,
Go figure. Me and Chris have not seen
Yeah,
the Bratz
I-
cartoon series.
I have it on
Okay.
my TiVo, but I keep forgetting.
I keep forgetting.
yeah, but basically the whole cartoon series of Bratz was like it's a bunch of teenagers. Like they keep on saying they're teenagers, but I don't know how they
Yeah.
keep on getting into clubs and like other
Fucking-
shenanigans.
that's creepy.
Yeah,
Like,
they're like teenagers and like they're wearing like these skimpy outfits, but like basically the whole thing is like they live in a penthouse together as teenagers, and like they're hired by one guy who's like their manager, and I'm like, what do they do
What?
exactly? Like it's like the creepiest thing ever because like they have different scenarios for them.
What's their manager's name? Is it Upgrade?
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
But he looks like he looks like Howard Weinstein, I think. Is that Howard Weinstein, the fat producer guy in Hollywood where he got canceled?
Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey,
yeah, there
my
you go.
bad.
Apparently, Sharkeisha Thompson died,
Oh, really?
and like recently. So this video's from October 21st, 2021. It's like them talk. Can we show this? You think we're allowed to?
On
yeah, I
YouTube.
wouldn't.
Okay.
Mm.
But basically, it's saying that the lady who was from that viral video getting in the fight passed away.
Are you sure it's not just kind of
Oh,
trolling with the title,
That could be
saying that this is the viral video and she gets murdered, straight up murdered?
I don't want to play the video lest we get in trouble. But it says, looks like it has to do with a shooting in the area where she lived.
Oh, what?
Oh yeah, she lives in a bad area, so that's why she gets into fights a lot.
That
But
is
yeah,
sad.
it started the whole trend where like there's Sharkeisha and then there's Oshinisha. And-
How old is that viral video?
That was to 21st.
No.
No,
I mean like the
7
original.
year- I think
The-
it says
Oh,
7
okay.
years ago.
really, I saw it in junior high.
Well, you were in junior high like 7 years ago.
Are you sure
Oh yeah,
about
that makes sense.
Miracle is the youngest employee here at, well, not the youngest, but very much younger than.
Well, I'm
those.
here daily, so I'm technically the youngest if you're counting daily, but weekly I'm not the youngest.
We have child slave labor here. Miracle.
Yeah, actually, I think baby Steve is the youngest employee here.
Who's baby Steve?
The little baby that walks around cleaning.
I'm sorry, I don't see baby Steve sometimes.
Oh,
Like
he's
baby
little.
Plausible deniability.
Easy to
folks.
miss.
But yeah, those were all the articles I had pulled up today. Now, once we're off the air, I'm going to go into a deep dive into Sharkeisha Thompson to see if that was real or what was going on with that, because that is sad if she did pass away. But I had never seen that.
But she's a
video.
violent ass kid. Like, oh, sorry. But yeah, she was very violent. But like, basically the viral video when she started being famous, like, dude, she was like beating up that girl where she could have went to jail and trialed as an adult.
Wow.
But do we know why she was beating her up? Because maybe
It could be
it was
something.
justified.
No, what if like she was fighting about stupid things and like
Uh-huh.
Well, you're
That's
saying,
my
what
seat.
If, what if? What
Mhm.
if?
I don't know. For
So-
me, I'm like, I feel bad if she did pass away, but still stop doing fights.
I
Like,
feel bad if she was murdered,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Mhm.
I guess I feel bad either way. I don't really know her though.
Mm-hmm.
Just crazy that was that recent. That was just a couple of days ago after
Mhm.
such a random piece of time. So, but that is interesting because I hear the topic of representation a lot,
Mhm.
and to me, I will admit this could be coming from a point of privilege that
Mhm.
I don't feel like I need to to look like a person. Because how deep do you want to go? Does the person have to be my skin color? Does he have to be short like me? Does he have to have heritage like mine? Like I can identify as much with a character from any race as
Mhm.
long as they are they hold, if they express views that hold maybe my values, or
Mhm.
they're an interesting character. You identify with the
Mhm.
character, not with the skin color.
Yeah, that's why Japan is kind of beating us because like anime basically like they have all different ranges of characters like but like mainly it doesn't matter what their skin tone is. Like everybody identifies like different characters. That's why like also like the Japanese idol groups, like have you seen them like where
Mhm.
it's like a bunch of girls and they're like different personality types? It's basically like different girls for every guy. But
Hmm.
like it doesn't really matter because they all pretty much look the same. No offense, you guys, but like they have like pretty much the same uniforms. And like to me, I don't really care about like if you want to cast somebody who happens to look like me. That's cool, but for me, I don't really see the point. But people want to be included. That's why.
I feel like they're patronizing us.
Kinda.
It feels narcissistic to me,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
just that. But one thing a quote that always stuck with me that literally is one of those things that I live by is that it says, in the end, ideally, your immutable characteristics should be the least interesting thing about you. So
Mhm.
what you look like, where you're from, who your parents are, that should matter far less than the type of person you are, how you treat other people, and the
Yeah.
way you interact with the world. So.
Mhm.
They're trying to make it so that the way we look and our differences
Mhm.
are our main things. Yeah,
Well,
instead of our personality.
Because you can
That's
easily
true.
divide people through
Yeah,
those,
exactly.
through those lenses.
Yeah, like the whole thing, like I don't know if you know this YouTube group. They're called Just Kidding News, but they started as Just Kidding Films, and they were
Okay.
talking about it, where where it's kind of hard now, like since they're doing diversity hires, like you can't do anything now. Like you can't pretend to be a gay guy anymore. You have to be gay, which is really stupid. The actor for Big Bang Theory, Jim Parsons, is it Parsons?
That's the
He's Sheldon.
yeah.
Yeah, he said it doesn't matter if you're gay or not, as long as you can act, you can do the role. But they're doing this whole thing where like you have to be like that.
They're doing it in even in animation. In animation, they got black actors now have to voice black characters. White.
I'm so mad about that because like Cleveland Brown.
Cleveland Brown. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it. Literally is. We're slowly entering a world where the living motto will be "Stay in your lane." The video you sent me earlier from Zach, do you watch him on a regular basis?
Bit, yeah.
He has a phrase where he talks about at Marvel now. He goes, in DC, whenever they're talking about the comic book characters, you're Christopher Priest, who he's a black comic book writer who's extremely talented. And they would only, for years, he could write any character they'd give him. They'd give him Daredevil. They'd give him, but now, like, he's like, whenever they call me to do Black Panther, or DC calls me to do who's the
Black Lightning.
Who's the Black Lantern?
Hank something.
But he's like, they only call me to do black characters,
which is really dumb.
So what Zach always says in those videos, the gays write the gays and the blacks write the blacks, which is super racist.
Yeah.
But they think of it like you
progressive.
You could hire these people if you actually thought they were good writers, like the diversity writers, not the Christopher Priest, but the good writers. If you actually had faith that they could write good characters, you would have them writing your Batmans. You'd have them writing your Supermans, but you don't. You have your Brian Michael Bendises, who suck anyway, but some people like him. But you have your not Scott Adams, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like, so basically, you save your good writers, your Tom Kings, who I hate personally, but some people like, and you put them on your good titles, and you hire the diversity characters and with diversity writers, which is super racist and segregationist. But that's the world we live in now, and it's really sad.
Yeah, which I don't know. Like for me, I'm kind of worried about the whole Hollywood life now because like back on to like Just Kidding Films and Just Kidding News, they have like one of their hosts, her name is Nikki Limo, and she's half white and half Filipino, but she looks Hispanic. And she was talking about like when she was trying to apply for roles in Hollywood, like big films and TV shows, like they said, oh, are you Mexican? And she's like, no, I'm Filipino. And they're like, oh, okay, so you're not Mexican. Can you speak Spanish? And she's like, no, I can't speak Spanish. And they're like, you can't play this role. And she was like, but that doesn't make sense. Like, I look like it. If I can act it, then, like, hire me.
Yep.
But she's, like, a really pretty woman. Like, she's a perfect blend of, like, Filipino and white. But, like, it's just sad. Like, she can't get roles now.
She has no race, so they can't do anything.
They do that with, do you know who Lou Diamond Phillips is? I pulled him up on here. He is you've likely seen him in something even. He is a fantastic actor who often gets cast as roles as playing Hispanic, and he's not. He's what does it say?
Is
He was,
he Native American?
they talk about it on his page. I'm not used to the. I'm used to the app version of this, not the. But basically, like he's I can just click on his bio here and see if they talk about it. But basically, he's not Hispanic, but he often gets because he was cast in La Bamba. And he's like he as Richie Valens. So he's a good enough actor. He fits right. It's why Dean Cain can play Superman, even though he's part Asian.
Yeah.
He looks enough like the character, and he embodies that role. So I'm sick of the immutable characteristics playing such a huge part in Hollywood movies.
I don't see why Lou Diamond Phillips couldn't play Superman if he was,
He's a little dark-skinned for that role.
I don't know.
I mean, Superman's portrayed as fairly fair-skinned.
He's all American.
Yeah,
that's why.
Yeah, as long as like if you're speaking a different language, it's one thing.
Yeah.
If you're American, you're American.
Yeah, but it was so dumb because like she said, I look no, she didn't say I look Filipino. I look Hispanic, but they won't hire me because I'm not Hispanic descent or I don't speak Spanish. So they won't hire me.
20 years ago, they would have.
Yeah,
and it
exactly.
would have been fine.
Yeah.
But also, like if she's applying for these Hispanic roles and she doesn't speak Spanish,
she should learn Spanish.
She's trying to right now. So slowly she's trying to learn Spanish and like expand like her resume for.
That would help.
Yeah, or at least the accent.
Yep.
Well, she knows how to do the accent, but I don't think they want to hire people because they're like, you're not the right nationality. Because like
crazy.
you remember the movie, The Memoirs of the of a Geisha.
Of geisha, yeah.
Yeah, like basically she got a lot of flack because she wasn't Japanese, she was Chinese, the actress. So like people back then
Oh,
were
wow.
still sensitive about that, and I was like, how can you tell the difference?
Yep.
I can't tell the
You
difference.
can't.
China probably loved it.
But there's, I mean, it's like Chloe Benet. Is it Bennett or Benet? Chloe Bennett from
Bennett, probably.
It's probably Bennett from Agents of Shield.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
She said that like when she started in Hollywood, she used her name as Chloe Wang and
Yeah.
changed it because she wasn't getting roles.
Mhm.
But she does not look like, I mean, she looks about what, half Asian.
well, I
like-
didn't know she was Asian until like when
you
I was
wouldn't really tell.
Mhm.
Like
yeah, like she doesn't look Asian, but it's funny because like I found out she was Asian like barely last year because like she was celebrating Chinese New Year, and I was like, when are you Asian?
beautiful woman.
Yeah, she is.
Beautiful woman. But yeah, it says that Lou Diamond Phillips was born in the he's on a naval base, so he's probably he's an American.
Yeah, he's just
citizen, but
American.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're still born on military grounds like a naval base, you're still
Yeah.
considered American.
Or even if your parents are just from America.
Well,
you're-
it depends because like I forgot my chemistry teacher was explaining this, but basically you even though like your parents are like military backgrounds and you're outside of the country of the US, like you still have to be born on the military grounds or anything that's American related.
He is 1/8 Cherokee.
Oh, okay.
1/8. Yeah, I'm 1/8
N-
French, but that doesn't mean anything.
His father is a highly decorated gunnery sergeant in the military. Okay, so that's awesome. Like I
Mhm.
love this. Like he's one of those actors that I can watch in absolutely anything. That he always captivates. Always captivating on screen. Contributed Native American vocals on the Bon Jovi album.
Oh, speaking about Native American, there's a new Hulu series that's called Rivers.
River?
No, not River. I can't say words, but basically it's talking about Native Americans. Reservation dogs. I'm not pronouncing it right.
Reservoir Dogs?
No, it's not.
Reservation dogs?
Yeah, basically, like it's called
Reservation?
Dogs. It's a Hulu series.
Yeah.
Yeah, Reservation Dogs. That's
Thank
actually
you.
Yeah,
what it's called.
probably playing on the title of
Reservoir
Reservoir.
Dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but basically it's talking about the whole Native American scene, like because like they want to be represented more, other than the stereotype being like
Taika
savages
Waititi.
or like drunks.
Taika Waititi.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see it's funny because you mentioned that, and then Lou Diamond Phillips was in the show Longmire,
Mhm.
which is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So I might actually have to check this out. I
Yeah.
like Waititi. Most
Yeah,
of his
he's
stuff.
pretty good.
So
Waititi.
any Taika Waititi, anything's
Waititi?
better than
It's
Ryan.
Waititi.
Anything's better than Ryan Johnson.
Oh yeah, that's true. Dude, but Taika, like that name is so pretty. Like it means tiger and also it means something else in Polynesian.
He's that was the reason when we brought up I brought up about Uncharted earlier.
Mhm.
The thing that made me think about that with video games was the movie Free Guy.
Oh
Which
yeah.
Seemed to resonate with a lot of people
Mhm.
and did not have it wasn't bogged down by comic book
Mhm.
lore, but still was heavily involved in video game
Mhm.
culture. So I
Yeah.
think that's where Hollywood's
Oh, yeah.
going.
That was like a straight up video game movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Not based on a real game,
but
but,
just
like
about
the idea.
video
Mhm.
games.
Just like Ready Player One, though.
Yeah.
That was another
Well,
video game movie.
But that's based off a book.
A
A book,
yeah.
but I'm saying it wasn't based off a video game, but it's a video
Mhm.
game movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I feel like Free Guy, like who's the actors, like what's his last name?
Was it Ryan
Ryan
Reynolds?
Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. I feel like anything that he touches now, it's gonna be great because
Yeah.
like now he's more comfortable as being an actor.
Because he just plays himself and everything.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now that he's up top, he can just
Mhm.
be himself, and everyone's like, okay, yeah, we need that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm a huge fan of Reynolds as well, even
Mhm.
though he did cave to the mob about he got married in
Did
what do you call it? He got married on an old plantation, and then he
Mm.
like apologized to like
Why?
because that's bad now because we live in 2021. But we digress. But that was where all the topics we went today, and we kind of went off on there. But that's like I think Reservation Dogs. That's something people should check out. Anything with Lou Diamond Phillips, you should check out.
Mm-hmm.
That was some good stuff.
Yeah, it was. I'm really impressed that we got to talk about more about Hollywood and their movies.
Is there anything else you've been watching that you think people should look into right now?
Inside Job. So it's a Netflix adult animation. So it's similar to like how Rick and Morty is, where they talk about conspiracies and then science. But this one is basically talking about like FBI and government conspiracies. Like there's an episode that Andy and I were watching where it talks about basically they kidnapped the president and replaced him with a robot. But then the robot was like self-aware because like they were taking like a bunch of flash photos of him and like it rewired him. So he was
cool.
self-aware and he was trying to create World War III.
Holy
That's
Yeah.
what the robots do.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that.
But yeah, I recommend
I
watching
like how
it.
quick you were like inside job. Like
Yeah.
he was like, do you have anything? Yes, I do.
Do you have anything that people should check out?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Not
right now.
really.
We should watch Inside Job.
I'm watching the season 11 of X-Files right now.
The
It's
new one?
very weird. There's a lot of like the naming of the
Mhm.
episodes, like
It's very
like-
weird. Yeah.
like there's one of them's called My Struggle,
yeah.
My Struggle 2, My Struggle 3,
Mm-hmm.
and My Struggle has a historical relevancy that
There was a bad
is
guy.
really weird that
There was a
they're
very
naming it
bad
that.
man, a
Mhm.
very bad man who I will not name.
Who named his
had a
book that?
book.
Yeah.
I can't quite remember his name, but it's crazy. I did not see that coming.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm watching that right now. It's kind of a cool, weird episode
Mhm.
talking about a virus that
Yeah.
is being used as a weapon.
Mm.
Kind of familiar.
And they
Mhm.
canceled the show right after that came out. That is,
Yeah.
Well, did
Wait, is it the
What-
new
Oh, yeah.
X-File that you're...
They-
oh.
they didn't let it get past
they? Yeah.
season
Oh,
11.
but it's from like 2014, but it's the season 11. They made
Well,
it
it's
one
still
more
new.
season.
No,
yeah.
season 10, then
Mhm.
season 11.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They made
11 was
but 10 only
20
had 5 episodes, and then 11 had like a full season or something.
The only reason why I say it's new because like you remember the old X-Files
Yeah. Oh,
where
yeah.
it was talking
Uh-huh.
more about
well, it's the
aliens.
90s. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the same X Files.
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
same-
continuing.
Yeah. They just
well, they didn't really advertise it like that. They were just like new one.
Well,
No,
new
no.
season,
Mhm.
same
Yeah.
show. It's,
Yeah.
it's
Mm.
continues
it's
the
straight
show.
new season, but there's the time in between still.
Yeah.
Like they're like, we haven't been working for a decade.
Yeah.
I, however, would recommend Dope Sick, which I just started last night.
Oh, you're watching that?
I'm watching it. I'm making myself watch it. Anybody who, if you know me, I have a history of substance abuse that I've had to deal with and overcome, and topics like that are difficult for me to watch in movies, especially anybody who's seen Requiem for a Dream, even people who don't have a
I
history
hate
with
that
those
movie.
things can barely stand that movie because it makes you so
Yeah.
damn
Well,
hopeless.
yeah, it made me depressed, and like I've never had
Yeah.
a conscious drug addiction.
Yeah,
but-
like for me, I can't really watch movies like that. But I told myself I would watch Dope Sick because it got really good reviews and said that it's more subject matter focused and you don't get as lost in the kind of the hopelessness of it all. But there's a lot of social commentary in there. But I do think that that's a high recommend. I'm gonna probably talk about it again in the next one if I get through
Mhm.
more episodes. So. Yes, I think that's everything for today.
All right.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well,
thanks
then
for watching. We'll
Yeah.
see you next time.
We'll see you next time, guys.
See ya.